righty, love bugs. If I'm doing this right, we are online, and we're going to try to do this on Facebook as well, just because we can. So we'll see what happens. At any rate, you are in the right place if you registered to be on the Rockstar team hiring formula. Let's see if I can speak my own language. And this is part 2 of the masterclass about how to find, hire, and keep Rockstar team members, even if you don't have a Rockstar budget. So I created this class for you because I kept being asked about, scaling my company, growing my company, how do I do it? And the challenge is if I couldn't get people to really get around building team and receiving support, there was always a ceiling. So part 1 of this class was about really how to know when it's time and what to do to get ready, kind of the questions to ask yourself and a little bit more of the mindset stuff. This part of the class is more around the details. I'm going to give you a quick recap on what I covered and then also go into with you the actual formula that we use for years and years and years in our own business and in other businesses, and what are the actual steps that you need to take when you are bringing on your team members. So the first thing to know is that all of your freedom as a business owner, meaning your time freedom, your financial freedom, your emotional freedom, is directly related to building a rockstar team. This is not a someday I'm gonna. If I can get more of our business owners to really embrace the power of building team early on, right? I was just recently listening to the biography of Elon Musk, and they had something like 300 full-time employees before they ever sold their first car. Now, I'm not saying that that's, what you and I are going to do, because we're small businesses. We're doing the best we can with what we know. But, I want you to look at like what's happening. Some of the largest organizations in the world are the best employers in the world, right? They hire a lot of folks. And we have this incredible opportunity nowadays to not have to do brick and mortar businesses, not have to have all the overhead of having a business, but also we do still need to invest in building teams, because if we try to do it all by ourselves, we're going to hit a ceiling and we're not going to be able to have the freedom of this beautiful woman running across the beach, right? And, for my family personally, if you missed the first class or you and I haven't been in touch, this has been a really, really fascinating year for us as a family. We were surprised to find out in April that Scott, my husband, has severe heart disease, and he had an emergency quadruple bypass, was in the hospital for many weeks, was down and out for many months. It's been a really trying year, and I think that this is probably what prompted me to want to share this information with you. That and the fact that we find that, again, this is the secret to success to companies that are sustainable, that grow, that create impact in the world. And, the heart of the work that I do and that our community does as legacy leaders is to really build businesses for purpose, not just for profit. And when you have life happen, because it happens for all of us, when you have something come up where you're faced with a death of the family, or you're faced with disease, you're faced with a sudden shock to the system financially. A lot of folks in California have lost their houses. There's been a lot of trauma. When we have that going on, there's nothing like having a business that stands behind you, that really supports you so that you can make it through and have the ability to handle these surprises. And the team, those are the players that keep it going for us all. So I want to support you in building your team, whether you think you're ready or not. And go back and listen to part 1 of the masterclass if you missed that, to really ask yourself those questions. Am I ready for my next hire? When you have a team, your scale starts to grow, right? Normally there's like one of us and we're reaching one other person, another person, another person. You start to see what happens is when your team is in place, you can provide a deep level of expanded service to many more people, and it starts to grow and create the impact. And I love being with people in person. I love live events. We host 3 of them each year. We host them as fundraisers. We don't sell tickets to our events. I'm so happy to have you come be with us if the content speaks to you. But what I really do is try to put together an environment, or we do put together an environment. I try to do my part, and then the team does their part, which makes it so much more viable. Try to put an incredibly safe sacred environment for learning. And there's something about, again, taking a step out of our comfort zone, getting out from behind our computer, coming to be with others in person, allowing ourselves to receive supportive community. Again, I feel like I get married 3 times a year, right? I mean, there's this big party, this big wedding, of flowers and music and staging and lights, and there's no way I can do it alone. So I want you to have that same kind of feeling with your work, that you're creating impact. And in our last event, we raised close to $60,000, which was enough for us to build a birthing center for Indigenous women, which is it's a huge gift. Being able to stop infant mortality seems like something that we wouldn't really think about in today's age, and yet it's all too easy to be going through the motion and get caught up in our own lives and our own stuff and not realize that there's a whole lot of people in the world that don't have as much access as we do. We want to be able to help them and make a difference with our work. So what this is not about is you getting so crazy about your work that you forget what's important to you. And, for me, all of the work that I've been blessed to experience has not only enriched my life, but has enriched the lives of our children and hopefully someday our grandchildren. No pressure to my kids. They're all growing up, but it's the greatest gift to give back and be able to make sure that they have a great education. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and it's not one of those things that I think one should take lightly, having the right to education. I think it's something that's really a beautiful gift. So I want you to be able to build your team and scale your company, and most importantly, to do it without feeling stuck or feeling overwhelmed. And chances are there's something that brought you to this call tonight. There's a place where you're feeling stuck around the team building process. So thank you for showing up and raising your hand and saying, hey, I'm here and I'm willing to make the changes, because we know that if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get the same results. And when you're willing to raise your hand and get educated, you can do things differently, right? And you can have things be easier. And if you're like me and you have a calling to really get out and share on a big global scale, and tap into that incredible abundance that exists for all of us, this is going to be the secret to your success. All right. So when you have this handled, when you've actually got your Rockstar team handled, it frees you up to have a really present experience with the people that you're here to serve and love. This is one of my clients and dear friends, Manjot from London, actually from India, who lives in London. And I, the work that I get to do today it's such an incredible blessing. It's not just about how do we make more money. It's more about how do we create greater impact and support leaders like yourself so that you in turn can get out and do your work. And, this is so cute. I have a great friend named Jim Nicewonger who helped me put these together. And he has this time to let the cat out of the bag. I'm not always sure what to tell you about this, other than I'm going to tell you some of the secrets that are going to be a little bit different than what you've heard in the past. And, one of them is that it doesn't have to be so hard. There's no valor in struggling. There's no valor in you being a martyr and wearing every hat in your business. And I want you to really have a business that's, again, not only purposeful, but also profitable. And hiring the right people can make that happen. It doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it doesn't happen when you wear every hat in your business yourself. And, the keys to this are, how can we help you avoid the hiring mistakes that most business owners make, especially when they're getting started? How can I help you avoid those 3 big hiring mistakes that happen? And really, how do you use, first of all, what is an org chart, and then how do you use it? And our org chart that I'm going to share with you is kind of what we've built over the years. It's not something that I see a lot of solopreneurs or small business owners think about until they really need it. So this is a place for you to be proactive and kind of grow into the place that you are going if you're not there yet. And then I'm going to give you the 7 steps that we use for hiring. That we use this again and again and again and again. And we've been very blessed that people stay with us for years and years. And I'm not only using this formula in my own business, but it's really tried and true in multiple industries, really all over the world at this point, because we've been blessed to have thousands of clients go through our programs. And that's, very humbling and exciting. And so happy to be able to share it with you. So we really want to look at, again, your most important decisions, what's going to get you out of overwhelm, what's going to move you to the next level. And if I may be of support to you, I really encourage you to use the link that I'm going to give you at the end of this webinar so that you and I can have a one-on-one conversation. This is not a sales webinar. I don't have an offer for you other than offering to give you my one-on-one help, because what I know is that oftentimes conversation with somebody who's gone before you can be a quick fix. There's this is probably my coach wouldn't love me to say this, but my business model is basically we have free, whole lot of great stuff for free, and then we have people that are deeply invested in their legacy work who invest and work with our company as a consulting company. And this is one of those free things where if I can help you and I can give you resources or give you access, it's really my pleasure to do so. And my request is that if it speaks to you, that you come and join us at one of our live events. 2 of our live events are for women only. The Limitless Women event we have every April, and in July we have the Flow Retreat, and then in the fall we have it coming up just actually next week. We have the Path to Freedom event, which is our co-ed event, because we love men, but we do a lot of empowerment for women. So if you want to come play with us, those invitation or something that we can talk about when we get on a one-on-one call. And if you decide to join us, I'll just ask that you make the donation of your choice. Everybody's in a different place, but I know that we want to grow our business so we can give more. We want to give so that we can grow our business. I know it's one of those things, it's a little backwards for a lot of people, but the giving really does cause the growing. So when we come together in a community at a live event, we all make a donation that we can, and as a community, we create great impact. So I'd love to have you join us for that. All right, so what is the most important decision that you need to make in your business? It's number one, not to hide, not to hide when things are not working. You really want to look at, again, are you a business owner or are you a self-employed person? And most people that think that they're business owners are actually self-employed. So if you're wearing every hat in your business is going to hit a ceiling, and it happens, right? So this is the time to really be looking at, like, what are you hiding from? What's not getting done? What have you been avoiding doing in your business? And it's time for you, if you've listened to the first part of this masterclass, it's time for you to get the next best hire. Let's give you the steps to do it. And, I went over this again quite a bit in the first class, but I've made a lot of mistakes. I've been in business. I've now at this point owned 9 companies. I've sold 6 of them. And, I've messed some things up. So hopefully some of the stuff I'm going to share with you tonight will help you move forward so that you can really, be on purpose and be impactful for the people that you love and do the work that you're here to do. And so, let's really look at what's important for you. What are the actions you're going to take? What are the mistakes we want you to avoid so that you can get out there and do the work that's important to you? And, for me at this point, there's a great luxury of how much of my time I get to spend working with nonprofits, working on the ground, because as I step into my own leadership and new levels to be a voice for healing cycles of poverty and for working as a woman in the world of philanthropy, I'm certainly not Warren Buffett. I haven't married into the Microsoft family. The resources that we have are resources that we've worked and that we've generated by owning small businesses. So if I can do it, I know you can do it. And if your mission includes being able to get on the ground and work with causes you care about, that is your reality. It requires you to take some action and get out there and do the things that you care about and be with the people you care about. And it all works together, right? So, not only were we able to raise our children traveling the world and having some great experiences and providing incredible education for them, but it's super cool that today we actually get to give back to causes, and our kids who are adults get to go with us, right? So this event that we have coming up, the Path to Freedom event this year, we're actually supporting the Cambodian Community Dream Organization, which is an organization that Jacob worked with. We went to Cambodia the first time when he was 16, and he fell in love with the people. And, just to make a long story endless, if you're not familiar with the civil war in Cambodia about 1/3 of the population was wiped out in the Civil War. They have almost no infrastructure. And although they're coming back and things are getting better, they're a beautiful nation of people with incredible, generous hearts. And a little bit goes such a long way. So we took him to Cambodia when he was 16, and he loved it so much that when he graduated from college, 11 days later, he went back to teach and to work there. So there's a picture of him in Cambodia, and he'll be with us at the Path to Freedom, as will Miss Erica. There's a picture of her here with me in Africa last summer. In this picture, we're in Kenya. And, again, for me to be able to do the work that I'm doing and be able to have my legacy, which is to have my children out in the world choosing that, they're adults, they don't have to come. They choose to come, and they come to the fundraisers and they work. And my husband comes and works, and God willing, we'll have him as long as we get to have him there. And, it's an honor and a joy for our family to do this work together. It really is. So if your calling has you coming here, and I always feel like there's a divine dance that brings us together, chances are if you're following me or if you and I are friends, this calling is calling you, and it's my pleasure and my honor to help you scale so that you can join us in the work of purpose and do it in a way that's profitable, so that when you look back at your life, you look back and say, hey, this is it. I did it well. I did it in a way that supported me and supported the people I love and supported the causes I care about. And I shared this a little bit on the first class, but we are in a really tenuous time with my beloved, and it's not, I'm telling you this so you can feel sorry for me. It's actually quite the opposite. When we were sitting in the hospital and Scott said, if God takes me, and he's not a very religious man, but, he just speaks in these terms of like, if God's going to take me, I'm good. And I just don't know how many of us will be on that, in that time and space in our lives and be able to look at it and say, okay, if God's taking me, I'm good. I want that for you. I feel like a life well lived is not only an honor, but a privilege. And, I want that for you. And for me, this is my core values. This is what I believe a life well lived is, that we get to give. We've made it out of survival. We've kind of gotten past that point. We've recognized how much we actually have, and we get to be in a place where we give back and share our resources. The self-actualization is wonderful, but once you've figured out your own stuff, it's only that fascinating. At least it is to me. So join me on the journey so that when you look back, you and I can celebrate that you made the decision to really get your life and your business working in a way that is profitable and purposeful. And, all of us are in business to provide solutions. So it's my business to provide solutions for your business, only because God put me in this body in this lifetime. And I've been in business for a long time, more than half my life. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. Yes, I'm 51 now. So more than half my life, I've been an entrepreneur. And it's not that I thought this is what I would do when I grew up. I thought I would go to law school. I grew up in a family that really struggled. Tremendous amount of violence and abuse and poverty by American standards. And my mother just kept saying to me, if you could just be a doctor or a lawyer, you would never struggle again. Well, I'm here to tell you that was not the case. But, I went to law school, and that wasn't the secret. However, I am really, really grateful for that encouragement to get an education, because education changes everything. And the more we can help others get those educations, the more we can make the difference. All right, so we're going to really look at reducing it to the ridiculous. All business is very simple in my mind. I tend to go very fast about these things. That's why I'm offering to chat with you on the telephone. That's why I do, intensive multiple day business trainings as fundraisers, because I know I'm kind of condensing for you almost 30 years of experience in a very short call. But, sometimes when I say, okay, it's the 1, 2, 3, number one, who do you serve? Number two, what are they struggling with? Number three, what's the unique solution that you provide? I tend to have things in threes because one of my coaches and friends, Callum Rush, said people learn in threes. I was like, hey, that makes sense to me. I like simple, so I'm going to give you the simple stuff and hope that it helps you. But, before I jump into that, I want to look at, for you, how your own team can help you scale. And scale just means that you reach more people, that you create greater impact. And it's time for you to do that if you're on here, because you're fascinated by how would I hire somebody if I haven't done that, or you might have been in a position where you've hired and it hasn't worked out. Sometimes those of us that have been around the block for a while, you might have had a hire and you just didn't get the results that you wanted. So I want to get clear with you on the most common mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make, and I'm going to give them to you kind of backwards in order, right? So kind of like the number 3 mistake, the number 2, and the number 1. So the number 3 mistake that I see entrepreneurs make when it comes to hiring is not knowing what they need. What do I mean by that? If you hire and you don't really have clarity on what it is that you need, you're hiring for the wrong position, or you're hiring the wrong person. And just because you have a bunch of junk that's not done, you've got a to-do list, this is not the answer. Now, I'm a big fan of not having to-do list. Again, if you hang out with me a little bit more, you'll know that I live through my calendar. My whole team lives through my calendar, which is very nice. But everything's, again, electronic. Back in the day, I used to carry a day timer. If any of you are old enough to remember the day timers, where you try to write it all down inside that little tiny calendar. But if it's not in the calendar, it's not in my life. And I mean, like, I'm going to the doctor, I'm going to get my hair done, I'm going to the yoga class, I'm driving, because I'm home in Southern California. If I have to drive and make an appearance in LA or San Diego, I write that on the calendar. People know in my community, and my team, excuse me, not my community, they don't all have that, but my team knows exactly where I am. So we don't actually have to-do lists. But what we do have is each quarter we have quarterly initiatives, and we have milestones, and we do a lot of strategic planning. And if things are not getting complete, we know that we have to have a new hire, right? It's not about the to-do list. It's about what's getting complete, what's not getting complete. Now, our org chart, what I find is that all companies really have what I consider the 5 pillars of business. This is just my 2 cents. It does not have to be yours. Some of the people that I work with through an internet marketing mastermind that I belong to, their org charts look very, very different than this. They don't actually have a pillar for business around finance. I actually think if you don't have revenue and it doesn't get a whole lot of attention, it's, to me, I think revenue and finance is absolutely a pillar of business. But a lot of internet-based businesses really focus on sales and marketing so heavily that that's where they build their teams, that arm of their business becomes very strong. So these are the areas of business that I think every company needs. I think you need strong leadership, and it starts out with an individual, but it grows into a leadership team. So kind of the heads of the pillars become the team. And this is all stuff that I teach in the Path to Freedom. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the org chart today, but I just want you to be looking at your own organization and be thinking about what hats do you wear. If you don't have this and you want a copy, if you jump on a call with me, just let me know that you'd like a copy of this org chart, and I'm so happy to send it to you in a URL. It's quickly, I can send you the URL. It's easy to get to. But again, this is one of those things that you need to know what you need before you start hiring. Otherwise, you're going to hire for the wrong positions, and just having the boxes is not enough. You've got to know a little bit more than that. You've got to know, kind of in addition to what the roles are in the organization, there's got to be roles and responsibilities for each of these positions. So if you find a place that you're stuck and things are not getting done, and you can't find a place where you're having initiatives that are not being implemented in your company and your strategic planning, chances are there's a role in the organization that needs to support and development. So if there's a role in your organization that's not being fulfilled, it usually prevents you from growing, all right? So the second place where I see people make a big hiring mistake is that they hire to put out fires. They're like, oh my gosh, we need this done. Let's grab a human, okay? Well, that could work temporarily, but it's not a sustainable business model. It's not the place that's actually going to help you scale your organization. So I want you to be strategic in your hiring, and I want you to spend some time, whether you come play with us in the Path to Freedom, or you go through these steps, or you get on a call with me and, we support you that way. However we can support you, you've got to take some time to take a step back and really look at building your business strategically. And hiring to put out fires is usually a symptom of somebody who hasn't strategized and created a plan of action, right? There's a whole lot that goes into that, but I want to move you out of hiring to put out fires and into strategically hiring, okay? The biggest mistake that I see with people when they're hiring also is that they just don't have good boundaries. I literally had a conversation with somebody about this today, one of our clients, one of our private clients and legacy leaders in our mastermind. You know, we fall in love with our team. They become our family. It's a common thing that happens in small organizations. It's why we're all entrepreneurs, because we love people. We don't want to necessarily work in a big organization and be, you know, just a number, but you've got to have good boundaries. And the biggest hiring mistake is not having really clear communication and good boundaries about expectations. We literally just let somebody go about 2 weeks ago, who'd been with our company for 2 years. Love her. It's not about the love is still there. She wasn't fulfilled. We weren't fulfilled. Things were not getting done in alignment with the core values of our company. There was some misalignment with the vision and the mission. And, you know, when it doesn't work, it's time to part ways, right? So you've got to have really strong definition of what the boundaries are, what are the expectations, what are the roles and responsibilities, and all those things need to be put into place prior to hiring. When you do that, and you look at your organization from a place of strategy and clarity, you fill in your boxes from a place of like hiring to succeed for the bigger vision and mission of the company. And I know, again, for a lot of you as small business owners, you may not be thinking about your vision and mission. You think like those are the things you'll get to someday. But if I could get you to kind of reverse for where you're going, look at where you're going. Don't look at where you are stuck right now. Look at the bigger picture, and let's support you in defining the roles in your business. The org chart is a help with that, right? Kind of getting clear about what are the pillars, where do I need to focus, determine the responsibilities for each of the roles, what are the tasks, and what order do tasks need to be completed in. It's one thing to know what to do. It's a whole other thing to know what comes first, okay? And then look at the requirements to fulfill the roles. There's a whole lot of stuff I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm going to go pretty quickly. There's a lot of content, but I'm going to tell you that the requirements of who is a good match for your company, the longer you're in business and the more you hire and have mishires, the better you get at this, right? I hired a consultant to help our company with Facebook marketing. And we went through, I kid you not, in 6 months, 3 different designated team members. I mean, like as soon as my team would get caught up with their team member, they'd fire them and have a new one. You really want to get clear about what you need prior to hiring so that you can provide a really seamless experience for your clients. All right, now let's look at this piece around number 1, where I said boundaries. You want to hold people responsible. You want to hold them to the high standard and really have clear communication. And I just can't emphasize this enough. And most of us, again, that are high, fast achieving, I always say we don't attract the type A personalities of the world. We attract the triple A's of the world, right? The super dupers. It's not enough to have a business. You can have multiple businesses and like dogs and cats and causes and volunteer, and we got a lot going on. And we need to have a place where we slow down and decide what matters. And I think holding people responsible in your organization only works if you're good at clear communication. 9 times out of 10, if something is wrong in my companies, it's my fault. Probably 9.99% of the 99.9999% of the time, somehow I've not slowed down and communicated. But once I have done that and I've given clear communication, clear expectations, then, it's easy for our people to perform, and they want to do a good job. They want to, especially if they share the vision and mission of what we're here to do, which is to heal cycles of poverty. And they want to help us empower more business leaders to do their part in philanthropy, create amazing communities. It gets to be fun. We get to play with each other, and it's good stuff. And the performance continues to grow, right? We give people kind of measures of like what's working, what's not working. And in clear communication, we all know that we're on the same page. We get great results. And as soon as we don't, we can all part as friends, but we don't have to be angry, because regular feedback allows us to be, again, communicative and gentle and kind and fluid. And this is one of those places that if it's a new world for you, it can seem a little overwhelming. Hang on for a second, please. Thank you, excuse me. It's a new world. It can seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be that way for long, right? This is the short hurt. This is the opportunity to just take some time and get into the formula. So quick recap of the most, biggest hiring mistakes that I see again and again is not knowing what you need, right? Hiring to put out fires rather than hiring strategically, and then having insufficient boundaries. And again, these are all things that we cover in depth with our private clients. We go through in the path to freedom, but I'm hoping that this kind of thumbnail sketch, as much as I can give you in a short class, will really give you some insights of where to focus and what to look at next. All right, so now we're going to move into the Rockstar hiring formula, and hopefully this will make sense to you. And we'll get into kind of like what's step one. Step one is to face reality. Those 3 hiring mistakes that I said for you, I want you to look at, are you doing any of those things in your own business? Are you hiring to put out fires? Are you hiring and firing quickly? Every time you do that, it costs you energetically, it costs you credibility with your clients, and it's just, it's an energy suck and a time suck and a money suck. So I want you to get really clear again about, are you ready to build this business so that the business can create the impact in the world that the vision and mission are aligned with? It's not about us as founders. Most founders don't end up staying with an organization until they die. Most founders are the creative visionaries that get it going. But if the business has a life that lives beyond the founder, now you're talking legacy. Now you're making a difference. Now you're building teams and organizations so that their families can grow, your impact can grow. But you've got to look at, are you the problem? Are you the person in the way? And most of the time, if things are not working, we're wearing too many hats, right? So we want to get clear about, what's the big vision and mission of the work? Am I building a business, or do I want to be self-employed? And if I want to build a business, I've got to do step number 2, which is strategically decide which roles to fill first. I should have added first on here, right? So what are the roles to fill? You are going to need to stay in your lane, which means stay in the area of your business that you're great at. Most of us have certain superpowers, certain skill sets, and I find that most people who are creative visionaries are not always the people that I want as a project manager. Rarely are they the person I want as my CPA. You want to look at, like, what are the places that you are great at, and how do we have you play in those arenas? And then how do we hire to your weaknesses? How do you build a team of complementary skill sets so that you can really, again, clearly define what are the responsibilities and requirements for each of the roles in the organization so that you have the right people in the right seats. A lot of times you'll hire the right person and you like them personality-wise, they may share the vision and mission of the company, but if you haven't gotten clear about the responsibilities and the requirements and the skill sets, don't fantasize that you're going to hire a nice person and then train them on everything. Be smart with your business and hire people to skill sets that they are already trained in and to strengths that they already have. So what are the tools that we use? And I'm just going to throw out some quick things for you. One of the tools that we use when we're hiring is we have everybody take a Gallup Strength Finders test. So it's Gallup, Gallup, Strength Finders, like strengths, like your arm is strong, Strength Finders. So if you look up Gallup Strengths, you'll find it. But it's a test that I think is $20. It's inexpensive. There's other assessments you can use, like Colby. Lots of different people use different things. We find Strength Finders inexpensive, and it gives you kind of the top 5 strengths of each of the persons. And when I'm working with a team, some of our private clients have businesses that have been in business for decades, and they go and work with their teams, and they might have a team of like 7 people in leadership, 9 people in leadership. When we actually look at the strengths, it's always fascinating. When a company is out of whack, when they're not working, they're struggling profitability, they're not having good efficiency, they're stuck in scale, they're not able to reach more. There's something here again of looking at the strengths of each of the team members and looking at the personalities and what's missing, right? Because sometimes, again, you'll have somebody in HR or somebody hiring. It's HR is us. We're human resources when we're small. We've got to actually have other people's insights on this. So the testing is a big part of what we do to really look at requirements, responsibilities, roles, and make sure we get the right people in the right positions. The next thing is to interview for fit. And what I mean by that is once you're clear about the roles, the responsibilities, and the requirements, who would be the right person in that job, what would be the right skill set and the right personality, now we start interviewing for fit. Now, again, I've had this happen time and time again where I've interviewed somebody and they were not the right fit for that position, but they were the perfect fit to either a position we hadn't filled or a position, I have to say this, where I've got the wrong person in the right seat, right? So I've got somebody that I like that I might have hired that's been with me and they're not thriving in that position, what we'll do then is hire the new person, move them to the position that may not be what they're interviewing for. I don't know if this is making sense because I'm going quickly. And then move the existing team member who we love, who wants to stay with the organization but has reached some level of stagnation, into a new position. So interview for fit, do the best you can. And that's the place, again, people are people. If they're good people and we show up and good things are happening with the vision and the mission and the culture, a lot of times we can move them to another place if they're not right for that. All right, here is one of my multi-million-dollar distinctions. Maybe it's my background is legal, maybe this is where this comes from, but we always give people a trial run. It is my experience and my belief system that a lot of people can look really good. They can pass through the interviewing process. They can be, show up like a rock star for the first month, let's say 30 days, but it usually doesn't last if it's not a good fit. So we hire everybody for a 90-day probationary period, and we communicate that to them in the upfront. We let them know that we're going to try them out. They're going to try us out, because again, if it's not a good fit for us, if it's not a good fit for them, we don't want them there, right? Very few people, and this is kind of a strange thing for you guys to understand if you're stuck in like, how am I going to afford it? Very few people who work for our organization do so for the money. A lot of them have alternate sources of income, or trust funds, or some different things, and then some of them do work for the money. That's they all need their paychecks. They all value their paychecks. Let's just say they all need their paychecks. But the piece around, again, hiring for a short period of time, you've got to kind of get in the game with people and find out if it's a match. And I find that 90 days, the way that it works in our world is the first 30 days is a lot of getting to know you. There's usually so many different moving pieces, and I move personally a million miles a minute. So if they're working with me personally, or even if they're working kind of under me, but under somebody else who's under me, it takes a little time, right? The first month, there's a lot to learn. The second month is where we really actually start seeing behaviors, right? We see, do they show up when they say they're going to show up? Are they in integrity? You can get some of that in the vetting process. We do background checks. We ask people for credit reports. We check references. We do a lot of stuff that maybe other people don't do. It's a process, but at the same time, then when we come in, it's like, hey, let's see if we all like each other. Let's see if it works. First 30 days, education. Second 30 days, culture, integrity, performance. Usually if they're not going to make it, they don't make it to the third 30 days. They're usually out within 60 days. If they make it through the first 60 days, then the third 30-day period, right, in the 90-day period, is we're really kind of honing, are they in the right position? How can we provide them better tools? How do we really help them be successful, right? Because you want everybody in your organization to be thriving and innovative, and I really want their input, right? I want to hire people who are smarter than I am, that know things I don't know, so that we can actually grow as an organization. And, they only know if they're doing a good job if you do step 6, which is to review their performance. If you're not communicating with people, again, I cannot iterate this enough. I can't say it enough times. Communication is the key to you having rockstar teams. It starts in the beginning, you getting clear about what's working, and then really, really communicating and reviewing and letting them know what's working, what's not working, and then giving them a chance to really co-create with you what's next. And what I mean by that is, if somebody's made it through the 90-day hire, and you've actually said, with somebody right now who's really kind of a key player in our company, who's been with us in 60 days, and I am seeing stuff left and right, I feel like she's the right person, but there's a lot of stuff that is, that we need to talk about. And scheduling that time to talk about it. I love and respect her. I admire her brilliance. I want to know, how do we co-create from a place that's empowering for both of us? And again, I'll go back to say that because we have a small company, usually if something is not working, it's a challenge in communication with the leadership, which would be usually me. Right? So slow down, have the conversation. So this is kind of the 7 steps that we go through in our hiring formula that I hope is helpful for you. And we've got a little infographic for you. If you didn't get that and you'd like it, just write to me. If you decide to have a call, let me know that in your notes that you'd like to have the infographic if you didn't get it. And, basically what it is look at reality, what's working, what's not working, do some discernment. Don't hire to put out fires. Get really clear about what your bigger vision, mission, and culture is. and where you're stuck, and ask for help. If you need help, ask for help. That's really what I'm offering on this call, is the opportunity to have a chat with me. Let me look at your business with you. This is what I get paid the big bucks for, if you will, is strategy. I'm offering to do it for you for free. I know that if I can help you and you have a big mission to fill, you can help millions of people that I will never meet. And I know together we can actually create great impact. So get real about what's working, what's not. Decide which roles you want to fill, meaning which roles you're going to fill, and then which roles you want to have other people fill. Ideally, again, as the founder of your company, you're going to stay in a strategic position where you're going to be visionary at the top of your organization. You're going to let all the fulfillment get done by other people. In our company, we have me doing 4 things. I do content creation. I host the events because I love to host live events. It's maybe like the Southern Belle in me that has this whole like Martha Stewart thing. We have events unlike anybody's events that I ever attend. We have more love and attention to detail than anybody I've ever experienced. I say that with gratitude to my team because they make it happen. I speak and travel all over the world speaking. And then I work with clients. I either do client enrollment or client fulfillment. And I love working with my clients. It's always a pleasure. So those are the roles that I fill in my organization. All the other boxes in the organization have to be filled by other people. So when you know what the roles are that you love to do in your organization, those are the ones you're going to choose to fill. You're going to hire into the other ones. And for each of those other roles, you're going to define the responsibilities. You're going to get really clear on the requirements of what would be the right person for that position. You're going to interview for fit. And if you find amazing people and that's not the right position for them, you're going to see if there's another place you can use them. Pardon me. Then you're going to give them a 90-day trial run. You're going to give them an opportunity to try it out. You're going to try them out. They're going to try you out. Everybody's going to be in clear communication that we're going to see if this is a match. After they've done their 90 days, or maybe sometimes it's 60 days, you're going to review their performance and have a conversation about, is this working? Is it not working? What can we do differently? And if you decide to continue and stay in the party together, you need to co-create, look at what are the next steps, where are the places, because after somebody's worked in a position for you for a quarter, right, for 90 days, they know more than you do about what's happening on the ground, right? So don't be arrogant about that. Not that you would ever be arrogant, but don't be arrogant, and find out what's happening from their perspective. Hopefully you've hired people that are smart and that you enjoy and that you respect, and learn from them. They can be your greatest teachers. So if you'd like to have a chat with me, I'd love to get my eyes on your business and support you in any way that I can. We've got our Path to Freedom event coming up, so I'm going to be offline for a bit, fulfilling that fundraiser that's supporting the Cambodian Dream Organization. And, again, love to have you come play with us. If that's something that speaks to you, just let me know. If you're not coming to be with us in the live event, then you and I will get on a call after we finish the live event. And the way to do that, the way to get on a call with me, is to apply at pathtofreedomcall.com, pathtofreedomcall.com, pathtofreedomcall.com. So I hope this has been helpful for you tonight, and that you find value in what we're offering. And if there's any way that I can support you, it's my pleasure to do so. So thank you again for honoring me with your time. Keep me posted on how you are. If we're not friends on Facebook, reach out and let's connect. And, again, hope to see you at one of our events or at another event that I'm speaking at, or anywhere that I might be able to support you. All right, pathtofreedomcall.com is how you get in touch with me to have a call, and just let me know how I can help. All right, take care.